Hello, sweeties. This is Janae Anthony, and this is formerly known as Astro Maverick Astrology, but I decided to do some rebranding, and now this is Astrology with Janae. That's me. So yeah, this video is going to be a transit diary. I think only the second video of my series that I started a whopping year ago. Have not been putting a lot of effort into this channel, but that is going to change. But yeah, this is maybe the second video in my transit diary series. And this video is all about first house perfection years. Last year, I made a video about my experience of a 12th house perfection year, and lots of people seemed to resonate with what I said, and I did get some requests to do a first house year. People were, I think whenever somebody talks about their 12th house perfection year, the follow-up question will always be, are you okay? Where are you now? Because, you know, 12th house years are pretty deep stuff. So I just wanted to update you and add to the Profection collection and talk about my first house perfection year. So, if I can manage it, you will see a picture of my chart right now. Okay, editing is not my strong suit, so congratulations if this actually worked. So as you can see in my chart, I am a Leo rising, which means I have a first house year in Leo. As you can see, Mars is also in my first house, and that's, oh, Mr. Mars. Mars was not my friend this year. So if you're familiar with Profections, you're probably familiar with the Hellenistic technique of sect, in which different planets are ranked differently, and how malefic or benefic a certain planet is in your chart depends on if you're born during the day or at night. And I have a 10th house sun, meaning that I was born during the day, the height of the day even. And that makes Mars the malefic that is counter to the sect, which means Mars is the planet that will cause the most problems for me. And boy, oh boy, did that definitely turn out to be true. Coming into this year, I was very excited to be out of that isolative, is that a word? That isolation feeling. I'm losing my words now. Just because 12th house makes things so elusive, and so you never know like what the fuck is going on in the 12th house. And I was so ready to escape that, just feeling isolated from everybody, just being so emotionally exhausted from everything. That was me last year, and I was so excited to jump into my first house year and just live, because, you know, Leo is a fire signs of energy, and they're assertive, and they're just so ready to take on anything you throw at them. And I feel like I did really jump into that space this year where I did so many things. I met so many new people. My life has changed in so many ways, and I really do feel like I know myself better. But boy, oh boy, I kid you not, Mars did not want to be my friend. So when talking about perfections, if you have a planet in the house that is perfected, you know, that planet and the other houses that it rules will come into, you know, focus for that year. So for me, that means 4th house issues and 9th house issues were a main part of my first house perfection year, because Mars rules Aries and Mars rules Scorpio. And I started grad school, which is why I did not focus on this channel at all, because all of my time was spent studying and, you know, learning things and working towards my master's degree. And that was amazing. Ninth house issues were not so terrible for me, possibly because, you know, I also have Venus in the ninth, so there's a little bit of beneficence going on there. But fourth house issues, not fun. Not fun this year at all. Right now, I'm sitting in an empty bedroom, and this room used to be full of roommates, but now they're gone due to, you know, the pandemic. But anyways, that's far, far along in the story. Let's start at the beginning. So I moved into my first house Profection years. The malefic counter to the sect, Mars, became activated. And, you know, I've always, you know, thought my Mars was working with me. You know, Mars is in Leo. Leo is a fun sign. It's like, oh yeah, it's right on the first house. I'm such a martial person. I'm strong, like I'm confident, and, you know, I randomly injure myself a lot of the time. I thought that was the extent of my Mars. But this was like the first time where I've really experienced Mars from that Hellenistic perspective, where Mars really was not working with me at all. So in terms of the fourth house, the year started, I was, you know, in an apartment that I was very grateful to be in. Like, it was my only place of residence that I could choose from last year. And this year it was like still working out for me. So, you know, I was planning on renewing my lease and, you know, just staying there another year as I started my grad school experience, because it was like just an 8-minute bus ride away from my campus. So I'm like, I'm in a neighborhood that I love. I have a really nice apartment that I am paying not enough for. Like, that place was a deal. So there's this wonderful apartment that I can actually afford that's like way nicer than what I'm paying for. It's in a lovely neighborhood. My neighbors are, you know, not the worst, and I have all these resources available to me, like different community resources, and it's really close to my school and really close to my gym. And so like this location is just perfect for where I am in my life right now. My landlord had different plans, and he ended up changing the terms of my lease like really last second. Like, so last second it was technically illegal. But I was in no position to bring on a lawsuit, and I think he was aware of that and knew that I didn't have many options available to me, so he figured he could do whatever the fuck he wanted and I would just roll along with it because I had no other options. And he is a really sleazy guy. I mean, just god awful. Like, didn't, you know, I will not speak bad of this terrible person. You know, maybe he's not a terrible person. Maybe he just treated me terribly because he has issues with Black women who are assertive and speak up about conditions of living when they are subpar. Like, if your heat isn't working in the middle of winter and you report it to maintenance repeatedly and nothing happens, and you're forced to report it to the city because it's the middle of winter in Chicago and your heat isn't working. If you have issues with tenants who do that, like, you know, I mean, from his perspective, sure, he doesn't like me because I reported him to the city, but also my heat wasn't working for like 3 weeks, and I told maintenance about it multiple times before contacting the city. Anyways, that whole situation happened, and he was not happy with me for making this report to the city, and so he wanted me out. And I am a headstrong person, and I do not put up with being bullied. So I decided to move out. It was either stay there, jump through all these hoops, and like be uncertain of if I would still have a place to live after 6 months, because he changed my lease from a 1 year to a 6 month, and like that would have been right around the time I was starting my first year of grad school when the lease ran out. And like, I'm not trying to start grad school and be in the market for an apartment at the same time, which is why like I chose to go to grad school, because I had it all planned out. Oh, I'll be at this place for another year, and then I'll start grad school, and at the same time I'll, work on various business ventures, and by the time the year is over, I can have enough money saved so I can move out. Because the original plan was to be in this apartment for 2 years, because it was like a 2-year program. But after 1 year, he decided that I was too, what's a good word? Too, not proud, but like, he decided that I had too much dignity to be a part of there. He couldn't walk over me. He didn't appreciate that, because the way he treated other tenants there, he walked all over them. For some context, this was a building where blind and visually impaired individuals can go to live. I am visually impaired. And like a lot of the time, when you have a physical disability, sometimes there are also mental and developmental disabilities that go along with that. And that was the case for most of the residents, who were also like older individuals. So, when you're not as developmentally as far along as, the average person, unfortunately, you're easier to take advantage of. And this landlord was the type of person who preyed on that. And it was not a pretty picture. Anyways, I got forced out of that place, like just forced. There was a long time where I thought I might be homeless, because I knew I couldn't stay at this apartment. And like I was saying, I couldn't really afford to live anywhere else, because this is like a special program for like blind people. And so it was like, if I get kicked out of here, then I will not be able to afford another place to live. I won't be by my school, so I won't be able to, start my master's program. And like all of these like big purchases I just got, like I had just gotten some furniture because I was planning on being in this space for a while. So it's like, I'm gonna have to throw away all this stuff that I just invested in, and it was just this huge mess. But fortunately, I was able to scrap together some last-minute scholarships and some student loans, and I was able to move into the dorm at my school, hence the empty bedroom that formerly housed roommates. So yeah, that was not fun at all. But I'm sure there's some lesson in all of this. What is the lesson? Mars is petty as shit. That's the lesson. Mars does not want to be your friend. If you have a day chart, if your sun is in house 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12, Mars doesn't like you. He really does not. He wants to, he just wants to bring difficulty to your life. And, you know, I'm lucky that my Mars is like in a grand trine with both the benefics, Venus, which it's ruling, and Jupiter. So my Mars definitely is not as bad as it could get, but like it was not fun. And there were some very happy parts of my year, very just first house specific things of my year where, you know, like I mentioned before, like Mars can also signify being confident and assertive. And, you know, in this situation with this landlord who is like just seeking to take advantage of me and manipulate me, like I stood up for myself. And that is something that I would not have been able to do, like maybe even last year, but definitely a couple years ago, just because I was not able, for whatever reason, to express my needs and really my rights. But you know, that's changed. Usually when you're dragged through the mud, you realize your worth and, you know, you don't deserve to be getting dragged through that mud. So you stand up and you stand up for yourself. So that was a positive of this year. Another positive that I absolutely loved was, you know, doing something, like coming back to something that I feel is like very core to my personality that I had given up a very long time ago due to the onset of my visual impairment, and that was my return to acting. I got cast as one of the leads in a play, and it was incredible to put on. And let's bring this back to the Profections. So I have a Leo rising, and the sun rules Leo. And my sun is in the 10th house, along with my MC. So the 10th house MC was also a theme for this year. And I got to be in front of people. I got to perform and be on the stage. And that was at the same time that Uranus was transiting my MC. And it was like a very sudden occurrence that I did not expect at all. Like, I didn't even audition for this play. The director came to me and was like, I have this role that you might be good for. And keep in mind, I hadn't acted in like literally 12 to 15 years. 12 years. I hadn't acted. Damn. The last time I acted was like in another first house Profection year. I'm just now realizing this. Anyways, it had been a good while since like acting, and I didn't even audition for it, and the world just brought this opportunity to me to do something that I love, that brings me so much joy, and that really makes me feel like me. Like, as ironic as it sounds, when I'm portraying other characters, it just feels so much like me. Because expressing myself in that way is something I've always loved to do, and it was just amazing to be able to come back to that and, you know, have the spotlight shined on me, even though, you know, I was not the lead, but I had the second leading role. So the spotlight was technically on my co-star for most of the play, but I had a pretty important part in the play too. Anyways, yeah, that was so amazing, and I want to keep acting. So if you have any roles you think I'd be good for, go ahead and reach out. Anyways, yeah, that was my first house year in a nutshell. I came back to something that, you know, just reminded me of who I was in my core and what I enjoy doing. I had very, very rocky stability in my place of residence, and you know, what it meant to like have a home, and that was the least fun part of my year. And I started grad school and just started pursuing something that I've known I wanted to pursue for a long time. It's like, I've noticed as much shit as I gave Mars, like, Mars is also the action planet, and you know, he energizes us to actually do things, which is something I can struggle with a little bit of the time. So being in a year when I just did so many things, whether I was forced to do it or if I did it by choice, or if, you know, opportunities just landed in my lap, I did things, and I'm proud of myself because, you know, it's always good to do things. So yeah, this is the end of my first house perfection year. It is literally the end. It is the last year. It is the last day of my first house perfection year because my birthday is tomorrow and I'm moving into the second house perfection year. I'm eager. I'm anticipating what will happen in this year. I'm hoping good things will come. Will I create wealth for myself? Yes, I'm manifesting it right now. I'm going to create wealth for myself in my second house perfection year. It's going to happen. Okay, so you can stay tuned to see what other things, lots of new things in the works for this channel are coming up very soon. And you can look forward next year where I tell you all about how I made lots and lots of money in my second house perfection year. So yeah, this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.